Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
Are you ready?
Power.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
I'm building an alliance.
God bless the internet.
Okay, let's party.
It's showtime.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts Kevin Frazier, Jaden, DKM, and J. Cal.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a live stream every Thursday here on youtube.com/the Alliance blog. My name is J. Cal. His name is DKM, and the gentleman below, well, that's Jaden, and all he wants for Christmas is good wrestling. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. What's going on?
Nothing.
I don't know. I don't really pay attention to much. I'm just here because I'm good looking.
And you deny the audience your twisted steel and sex appeal.
Well, yeah, it's under a pay window.
Oh.
Yeah, OnlyFans, Jaden234.
Pathetic. This is pathetic. This is pathetic. This is pathetic.
The meow. I don't know where the meow came from in that clip.
I blame you. It doesn't matter.
I was going to say something, but it isn't YouTube appropriate.
Yes, please don't. We already have demonetized Mike in the house. We don't need demonetized Jaden in the house, too. Mike says, whoa, I pop in here and OnlyFans? Oh, by the way, happy birthday to our pal Luthez. Or not really Luthez, but what would Luthez do? Who is turning, I think, 29. Happy birthday, Lou.
Man, a lot of 29-year-old birthdays recently.
What's that?
A lot of 29-year-old birthdays recently.
Well, you know, when the world champ does something, you know, I pay homage and follow suit.
Mm.
Mike reminds us that he's been good lately. Sam Retro.
Fine, good.
Sam Retro was with me watching the Coalfield Stole Christmas, the first NWA Joe Kazana Promotions event that was taped a couple of weeks ago that they just debuted on YouTube tonight. If you guys want to check it out after this, I mean, I certainly hope you would. It was a great watch. I enjoyed it quite a bit. All kill or no filler is what I meant to say. A lot of title matches, and it's just a good invitation, a good introduction to that brand if you hadn't checked it out before. Jaden, you're muted, but did you watch any of that? I was watching it. I don't know who else was checking. I know Sam was in there, but did you get to see any of it, Jaden?
No, I didn't. I got a text that Kokushi was watching it, and I didn't want to be on the same time as he was. So I'm going to watch it later tonight. I also got to catch up on the OVW that just dropped too around the same time.
So are you regularly watching Ohio Valley Wrestling?
I skipped through some of it, but mostly, yeah.
How about you? Are you watching any OVW?
Me?
You're DK.
I couldn't hear. There was some interference. No, not currently. I'm not really watching much of anything currently outside of the NWA. And I kind of watch that the same way I used to watch WWE, which was fast forward until I see something interesting.
I kind of had it on the background today, not the WWE, the NWA. So I got a little flow of something out there. I got a few funny comments to make.
Well, good. We need funny.
I thought for some reason we would be talking about it, but apparently not.
Well, you know, it's one of these things where earlier in the week we say, "Hey, what do you guys want to talk about on Thursday's episode?" And nobody mentioned Power, so that wasn't.
Somebody wants to talk about Power. It's more like a punishment. Actually, it wasn't that horrible.
You know what else is a punishment?
This.
Yeah, I see doing this podcast. He beat me to it.
Wow. Hey, this could be the J Cal show. Forget you guys. Oh man, jeez. Hey, talking to my friends every Thursday. What a chore. Oh, how awful is that? I don't even make you guys stick to the top. You know, this started off being a recap show for the NWA Power. Most weeks we don't even do that because you guys didn't want to talk about Power.
Well, actually, I don't mind talking about Power, but once USA went away, and then the other guys are cover it first, I figure, why should we double
torture ourselves?
We need but I'm trying to put it politely. You know, why should we double cover it? We need our own unique identity. And so, you know, we talk more broadly about things in the wrestling business and what effects it has on the NWA and what we're seeing in the NWA. Kind of had some fun here, you know, picking on it. But I would say the NWA is definitely heading in the right direction at the moment.
I agree.
It will be interesting to see some of these tapings that took place outside of
Robarts,
where there's a crowd that we can hopefully see.
Well, did you watch Power this week, DK?
No, I have not had a chance to see anything this week.
So this was the first episode from the Robarts, and it looked good. I mean, look, was it it looked better than an AEW show, but it wasn't maximum capacity, but it did look good on the camera. I thought so.
It definitely looked like they had a lot of people there, and they were on all four sides too. Maybe at least three of them.
Yeah, no, I feel like this was a step very much in a positive direction for the NWA. Now we know when they go back to Nashville, it's going to be the same setup. I doubt they're going to switch everything around now. Essentially because well, supposedly there was a huge investment to get it to be built that way, so I don't know that they're gonna go and change that now. But
all they need to do, you can leave the hard camera where it is. It's the ringside cameras where they put them up, where they put the guys on the platforms.
Yeah,
so they face the entrance. It'll cause some kind of hassle letting the wrestlers get around or whatever. But damn, I'd move those just to the other side of the ring and let them, and let those guys capture the crowd.
Well, there's so many cameras, and I was there live at the first set of tapings after the 75th anniversary show, and you've got the two guys on those on the towers, I guess is what you want to call it. You had the hard cam, and then you had a jig running around too, a jib, running around. And there's two guys on the floor with cameras. I feel like at some point somebody could have, switched it around, but I guess they don't want to shoot the hard cam. They don't want the hard cam to be seen on camera. So, I mean, I'm sure there's ways to work around it, but yeah.
Is it a stationary set? Is it built in, or is it like broken down? Is it permanently part of the set, or could they break it down and build it every time? Because if it's broken down, it could be manipulated.
Yeah, so I can't answer that with any certainty. I don't know what happens in that studio when the NWA leaves. I mean, they're only filming there quarterly, right? So I don't think that they probably have to break everything down when the show's over. They probably put the ring back in the truck and everything else. The hard cam, the way it's set up is it's between the bleachers, and I say bleachers, not bleachers. It's chairs. There's like about 4 or 5 rows of chairs, about, I would say, probably 40 people on either side of the hard cams, about 80 people, maybe 100 people, not much more than that. And then the hard cam's in between that. And so, like, it's just a platform. It's not like it's not something that they built like for forever. It's something that is definitely temporary.
Sounds like it's set up like a studio audience.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what it looks like. It's not set up as studio wrestling. It's set up as a studio show that filmed in front of a live audience. Just,
all they have to do to change that, move the ring a little forward, put a set of bleachers behind, and maybe something on one side or something like that. You don't actually need to do much changing. Just slightly move the ring forward, put a couple bleachers in there. It'll look full enough. I mean, Techwood Drive, that tiny little studio that they did the NWA, always looked really good. There was maybe 30, 40 people there.
Is that
Anybody
Five
agree?
Guys? What are you eating there, DK? What is that? What burger is that?
It's actually a roast beef sandwich.
Oh, it looked like a delicious cheeseburger. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm hungry too.
Well, it's roast beef with cheddar cheese, so I can see where
I actually love roast beef on a hamburger. A cheeseburger, bacon, and roast beef now with some cheese.
So, in the city that I live in, there is a In-N-Out. I know, Jade, I don't think you've ever had In-N-Out. DK's might have had it.
I've been in In-N-Out a lot, but not at the one that has the fast food place.
Oh, Jesus. And right next door to that In-N-Out is an Arby's, and I could see a creation being made there, Jaden. I think next time I'll be getting my double and stopping by for a quarter pounder roast beef.
Get it dipped, put it on the burger. The roast beef. I'm sure they have it dipped. Yeah, I know. It is me, so I understand their trepidation. I'm sure they have a French dip or an au jus or something like that you can put on there. Dip the roast beef. Even dip the burger. Put it right back on the bun. Whoever has the better looking bun.
Yeah.
Bacon, cheese. You can go with the liquid cheese, but Arby's liquid cheese, once it changed, is no longer that good. Get the real cheese.
Not a big fan of the liquid cheese.
Actually, isn't Arby's developing its own burger? Didn't I hear that somewhere?
Probably. People like my wife especially hates Arby's, right? And if you ever go to an Arby's, there's almost nobody in there. But that company, like in the last few years, has bought like Buffalo Wild Wings and a few other like bigger establishments. You're like, where did all this money come from? Who's buying that much roast beef sandwiches?
Well, I think we know where the wondering's going on now.
The roast beef is my least favorite thing that the Arby's does, but they have some good stuff sometimes. And their curly fries are still some of the best curly fries out there.
I agree. And now I'm getting so hungry for Arby's, so this conversation sucks.
Do you have a phone that's not recording? Make sure you use one of the many food services and order yourself some food.
The food's coming. It just won't be here until till the podcast is over. I'm a professional, Jay, and I can't eat on camera. Jeez.
You should. Everybody else does.
That would be a different show altogether. It's on my OnlyFans.
We should do a show about that.
That's your OnlyFans one, right?
Yeah, me and Tyrus, we sit there and we feed each other cheeseburgers.
We better have sponsors if we have to feed Tyrus cheeseburgers.
Did you notice I got?
They could barely eat a slice of half a sandwich and some loaded tater tots.
Guys, you're making Lou hungry too, man, and it's his birthday.
Today's your birthday.
He's getting cake, so I don't feel bad for him.
He's at work right now. He ain't getting cake at work. No one's giving him cake at work.
How do you?
It depends. It depends as long as their HR doesn't find out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm afraid to find out what a snoot sandwich is. Is that like a pig's snoot?
Even I'm unfamiliar with that one. Please educate me, Luthez.
In the meantime, if Arby's would like to sponsor this podcast, please send all inquiries to jason_Cayley@hotmail.com.
Oh, man. Can you imagine if we would have to eat Arby's on camera? I mean, I'm not complaining.
Dude, that would be my dream job. Are you kidding me?
We just have to have the cups sitting out, drink our Arby's drinks.
They used to do the Polar Swirl, which was like the Frosty kind of thing with an Oreo in it. And
I know a girl like that.
Me too. Hopefully it's not a good girl.
I sent you her Instagram earlier, DK.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, it was I asked you to choose between red and blue. So when you get there, let me know.
All right.
This conversation's taking a turn for the worst. So, what is that? Oh, DK just found this article on snoot sandwiches. I don't think I could handle that, man. That's the one thing I don't think I could do.
It's got a video. Go watch.
Well, I can't watch it right now. I'm doing a podcast.
Can't put it on the podcast?
It doesn't take too long.
I think if I did that, I might get in trouble. That
It's
might be like considered like stealing content.
And besides, he doesn't want to drool in front of everybody.
Do what Conrad does. Just put a bunch of words over top of it so you can barely see anything out there.
One of these days, I got to figure out how I could just play audio from other videos so like we could listen to things together. That would be fun. So, hey, congratulations. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. We haven't really discussed this outside of, well, we haven't discussed it at all, but earlier this week, in fact, it was Monday morning, the Alliance Blog YouTube channel surpassed 2,000 subscribers.
Woot woot.
Yeah, that's huge. And I knew it was coming. It came faster than I thought it would. Jaden, don't say anything. It's quite.
Oh, I didn't say stuff. All right.
I know a girl like that too.
It's quite remarkable. Because when we started this channel back in 2018, I was just hoping that at some point we could get 1,000 subscribers, and it felt like such a impossible achievement to unlock. But it really has blown up here in the last year, where we finally were able to be monetized with over 1,000 subscribers earlier or late last year. And then this year, just the numbers keep just growing, and that's all thanks to you guys. You watching the videos with us. You're watching the shorts. You're liking. You're commenting. You're subscribing. You're sharing, and it's really been so appreciated, and has really helped the channel grow. So, from my most sincerest part of my heart, I do say thank you to not only Jaden and DKM, who've been with me for so long in growing this channel, but to all you guys who are out there participating in the chats, joining us each and every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, watching the shorts. I really do appreciate all of it. Thank you so much.
Jay, what made you want to do a podcast back in like all those times when you were interviewing Dave Marquez? Is I think the first one I ever heard.
So the reason we started this podcast is because essentially the NWA wasn't getting coverage. There was no media hyping the NWA. Now this goes back to 2008. It was 2008. Like I think it was like around October of 2008. The NWA just wasn't getting a lot of traction, and there was good things happening, and I just didn't feel like there was anything going on. So, excuse me, there wasn't a lot of reporting of what was going on in the NWA. Likewise, when I made the website alliance-wrestling.com, it was because there wasn't enough coverage of what was happening in the NWA. A promotion like NWA Hollywood or NWA Pro would get lots of publicity because it was kind of a bigger promotion, but some of the smaller promotions never really got recognized. So it was my mission, my goal, to get that information out to people like me who wanted to know what was going on. And then that snowballed into, well, there's talent out there that's not being recognized. There's wrestlers within the NWA who are not getting an opportunity to be on TV or being put on, Pro Wrestling Insiders podcast or things like that. So, collectively, we started off talking about the NWA. Then we started interviewing talents from the NWA, and all that kind of snowballed to get to where we are now. And there were some times we took time off. 2016 was a rough year. There was I think maybe only 2 episodes that entire year, and we definitely got reinvigorated with the sale of the NWA brand to William Patrick Corgan. I really feel like it revitalized what we were doing here. And so, that's kind of what got us going. And, there were parts and times where both of you guys were like, no, I'm good. We're done. And, Kevin Frazier kind of carried your guys' weight for a while when you guys stepped away. You guys came back gratefully and appreciatively. And Kevin Frazier went on to go be a dad and start podcasting about Rangers baseball with his good friend Bull. So we wish nothing but the best for Kevin. And then shortly after that, we had
been interviewed on this podcast.
What's that?
Both of them have been interviewed on this podcast a few times.
Yeah, I mean, Bull used to be on all the time. Bull always had something to say. It's the same thing with Kevin. Both those guys, and very much appreciate both those guys too, and what they're doing with their Rangers podcast. And then shortly after that, Tim Alliance Gold reached out and said he wanted to do stuff, and I had some ideas that we were bouncing off, and eventually that became the other Alliance guys that you see here on Wednesdays with Jeremy and Dave Scooby and Tim, and they do an excellent job too, man. Their numbers right now are better than all the numbers, so we're things are doing well. Things are going well here, and our pal Luthez said we need a 3K sub pool. I'm thinking it's going to be like November or October. But if you want to do that, we could jump on the Discord and come up with something for that.
I'm pretty sure Discord is evil.
What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Said I'm pretty sure Discord is evil.
You think Discord is evil?
Isn't it?
It's been kind to me, I guess.
It's actually a Greek goddess, wasn't it?
Discord?
Yeah.
Don't make me lie.
Yeah, Eris is the Greek goddess of strife and discord. Her Roman equivalent is Discordia, which means the same. There you go. Learn something new every day.
Yes, this is the great content and knowledge you get listening to the Alliance guys, the original Alliance guys. So we should be the highest rated show.
Well, you know what? They don't talk about Arby's on their show. Maybe that's why theirs is better. I don't know. Matthew Underwood wants to know if this is the holiday party because DKM has a collared shirt. No, actually, I think we're planning to do a holiday year-end Alliance Guys party show, the last episode of the year, which I think it will be December. Let me pull up the calendar. December 28th. I believe that's when we're going to have our year-end award announcements and all that fun stuff.
That's not good for me. Can we have it on the 27th?
The 28th is no good for you?
Yeah, sure.
No. What do you got going on? What's so important? You got a hot date? What's her name?
Yeah, right.
Or his name? I mean, look, it's 2023. I'm not here to judge, bro.
Discordia. Oh, and as for the collared shirt, this is what happens when you literally walk into your house like 20 minutes before the show's supposed to start, and you got to feed dogs and yourself.
Don't you have sons that could feed your dogs for you?
You're a funny man. I have sons.
I was half right.
And they probably could feed the dogs for me. Now, actually remembering to...
So I got a haircut this week, and I really like the way they lined up my beard.
Nice.
It's fabuloso.
Speaking of your beard, I like that segment you did with Nick Aldis on SmackDown the other day.
That was good.
So I don't remember who sent me the first link, but they're like, wow, Jay, you really messed up Nick Aldis. It's not me, guys. We're not the same person.
I don't believe you anymore.
Well, we've never seen you two together.
That's true. One of these days, I'm going to have to go to one of his meet and greets or something to be like, hey, man, could you just say to the camera that we are not the same? We are not related. We share no DNA.
Didn't WWE do that angle already?
Kurt Angle?
No, they used
Silas and...
Yeah.
What was the brother's name? I forgot. Silas and...
Not Silas. That's Hillbilly. Or Thrillbilly.
No, you walk with Silas. What?
Elias.
Oh, damn. See? What do I know?
And Ezekiel.
Ezekiel.
Even Ezekiel thinks that my mind is gone. I'm a man of the land. I'm into discipline. Sorry.
We'll just let you go, man. Look, I could get a hot beat for you. Let's go. Hold on.
I could do the whole thing if you want.
Oh, please no.
I could also do the Nations of the World, brought to you by Yakko Warner.
That maybe. I had this weird dream that I used to do a wrestling podcast.
That's so weird. So did I.
Hitching up the buggy, churning out the butter, raise a bite on Monday, soon I'll raise a nutter. There, what?
I had a hot beat for you. You could have done it with the music. It would have.
Yeah, it was going to drown me out.
I would have made it softer, quieter.
I have
been spending most our lives living in an Amish paradise.
All right, can we start doing the show now?
No, actually,
brought the meats.
I have a wrestling related topic.
Oh, good.
That's popped up.
Oh,
in
great.
The last 24 hours.
Amazing.
And I'm curious as to your thoughts on it. So it's long been known that Shawn Michaels was kind of dragged kicking and screaming into doing NXT originally. And now there's story is that CM Punk actually wants to eventually take that over. Wants to book NXT. So, I mean, the guy's no spring chicken.
Shawn or CM Punk?
CM Punk. Would you be interested after maybe a 2 or 3 year run, him fading into the background and being NXT booker? Do you think he could do a good job booking?
I will let Jaden answer first if he would like to.
I think he could punch things up in the background, behind the scenes, you know?
I've heard stories he can.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he's already worked with children. I guess adults might be a step up.
That's true. So
the catering will probably be sponsored by Mindy's Bakery.
I would think so. So seriously.
Yeah. Seriously though, he probably does have a good mind for the business. He respects Bret Hart. You know, he actually, like, I love when he came out with Bret Hart's shirt on, by the way, when he was out there with Shawn Michaels. I know that had to be a little rib. But
and I'm glad they called him out on it, and I'm glad they had a conversation about it. It was funny.
It's funny though, because wasn't Shawn Michaels the problem child that was the pet everybody had problems with and thought was nothing but a bad influence? And you know, the as Matthew Underwood would call him, the immature, not more professional guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and now he's there being the guiding force behind NXT and help mold these young kids into something new. Maybe that could be CM Punk's next thing.
Well, can I chime in now?
Sure.
So I think why wait till he's retired? Why not do it now? Why not have him be a player coach type spot, and maybe even have him make appearances on NXT when they hit the ground running on CW come September of 2024. CW is going to want to see something, and they're going to want to have that return on investment. You put CM Punk not only on that show, maybe not every week, not every episode, but you know, have him sprinkled throughout, making appearances both in ring and wrestling in ring and promos. I mean, I think that would be huge for the CW. That would help the WWE with those numbers. And then also at the same time, it gives him the opportunity to kind of start working there behind the scenes. Like a guy like CM Punk isn't going to necessarily do every house show, every live event, but he certainly could do, tapings in Florida, a couple of times a month. I'd say, yeah, absolutely. And again, Shawn, we mentioned how CM Punk is not really long in the tooth for in-ring competition, but I also would say that how many more years is Shawn going to be working behind the scenes before he's going to want to call it a career? he's got a wife, he's got kids. I'm sure at some point he's going to want to retire too.
Yeah. First of all,
rumor is he wants to
don't
retire when his contract's up.
Wait, you both are talking at the same time.
Good, DK.
I said rumor is he wants to retire when his contract is up.
There you go.
Wrestlers don't retire though; they just take vacations.
Or they take less bookings, right?
Yeah.
I think he was supposedly at the Tuesday show backstage, at least.
Yeah.
I have not watched the Tuesday show to know anything else about it. But he was supposedly there, and he supposedly shows up to the Performance Center. It's very interesting that he was one of the original people behind the Shield, except for he wanted Chris Hero instead of Roman Reigns. And they actually traveled with him, worked out with him, and said, he helped them a lot. And now none of the three like him. Apparently, there's legit heat with all three of them. That's what people claim. And so it's just, I just find that interesting.
So yeah, that's a pretty interesting topic. But yeah, I think that would be a huge win for the WWE if they were able to get CM Punk in that role. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I'm allergic to complimenting people, apparently.
We've heard
earlier we were talking about Ohio Valley Wrestling, and I'm gonna sneeze again.
Bless you.
At least this time you actually muted it.
Oh yeah, I tried to mute it the first time. I just missed the button. So it was announced earlier this week. In fact, it was just 2 days ago. OVW has secured new investment strategic partners. In fact, I'm going to just read here from the press release, and it says OVW is excited to announce that they have secured a new investment and strategic partnership with Genvec Ventures. The agreement ensures OVW's financial stability going forward, adds Genvec Ventures as a new minority ownership group, and brings Ed Payer aboard as our new chief executive officer in charge of the day-to-day business affairs. It goes on to say this strategic partnership marks a pivotal moment in OVW Wrestling's history. It is a fusion of financial stability and a shared vision from Genvec Ventures that promises to elevate our brand and the world of professional wrestling. As the Netflix show Wrestlers showed the world, OVW is a special place with amazing wrestling leadership in Al Snow, tremendous talent in our locker room, and a fan base that is unmatched. What we needed was resources, an infusion of time, expertise, and a set of individuals poised to elevate the company from a business perspective. This partnership gives OVW all three. Matt Jones will remain the head of the majority ownership group that includes a number of other partners in the Kentucky area, and we all are excited about bringing Genvec's new investment and ideas to the table. Matt will still continue with working on OVW's future, touring in Kentucky and for the first time in 2024 around the United States. He will also focus on television and distribution rights to take OVW to a wider audience. Our new partners are committed to our ethos of delivering exhilarating wrestling entertainment and nurturing exceptional talent. As new head of day-to-day business operations, Ed Payer brings a wealth of business experience to OVW Wrestling, and his ownership group brings corporate and digital expertise from around the world. His leadership and vision are aligned with our goals to innovate and enhance the wrestling experience for our fans. With Ed and his partners, a large fusion of resources and upgrades have already occurred, and we are poised to reach new heights and explore exciting possibilities. As we embark on this journey, our dedication to our fans and the integrity of Ohio Valley Wrestling remains steadfast. Prepare for a thrilling ride into the future of wrestling entertainment, where tradition meets innovation. Thank you for your continued support, and be ready for more exciting announcements in the very near future. Gladiator Sports Network Chairman Matt Jones.
Sounds like to me that Al Snow is the new Howard Brody.
Maybe. He's supposed to be the brains behind the operation, no?
He's the wrestling guy, but sure he's good at securing funds from somewhere.
It's one of these things, and we talk about what the NWA needs to do, and to a lesser extent, we talk about what Dave Marquez, the United Wrestling Network, needs to do, and where Billy Corgan is very well off and self-reliant, he has chosen not to go and find investment partners. He is said to have turned down offers. In fact, there was at one point where he spoke to Gary Vaynerchuk, and there was an offer to have Gary Vaynerchuk come on board as a part owner for the NWA. That didn't come to fruition, and as it tends to happen, Billy just kind of did this all on his own. I'm almost positive that the summer tour that happened this year and the summer tour, or the big arena tour that's taking place next year, I believe is connected to his desire to help grow the NWA. What are your thoughts initially about this, DCAM? Like with Ohio Valley gaining these strategic partners, is this the point in time where they're going to jump ahead of companies like the NWA and the United Wrestling Network, or did that already happen with their Netflix show?
The Netflix show, which is probably part of what got them the extra investment, has probably helped the most. It's hard to say. I mean, I watch their product on a very rare occasion, and it's been like okay, but I've never just loved it.
Right.
And Tony Khan has shown that you can have all the money in the world, but unless you know how to spend it, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to be honest with you, there's very few wrestling fans around anymore.
Say that a little bit louder. I didn't hear you.
There's very few wrestling fans around anymore.
Okay.
Most fans are WWE fans, and that's not the same thing. And this is that casual fanship that everybody goes after. Oh, we need the casual fan. Yeah, there really aren't casual wrestling fans. There aren't a whole bunch of wrestling fans in general. You're primarily going after WWE fans, casual WWE fans. And what makes a fan casual is that it's not their life. They're not obsessed with it. And they're not necessarily interested in going and finding anything else. And so, I don't know if Jaden agrees or disagrees, but I mean, at some point, anything could catch fire. Nobody knows what to expect. A lot of people were probably surprised that WWE caught fire. WWF actually back in the day. And so it's just one of those you don't know, anything could happen. But the likelihood is that, I mean, are we going to start seeing quote unquote top stars sign with Ohio Valley? I don't know. But I have something else I want to bring up related to Ohio Valley once this topic gets through. So, Jaden, what are your thoughts? Am I totally lost, or?
You're not exactly lost, no. Well, you are, but not about this subject.
Oh, okay.
He's not wrong that there's way more WWE fans. One thing Dr. Zirconium tries is he tries to grab fans that aren't even wrestling fans. He tries to make his own fans, and that's why there's a lot of people who have no idea what AEW or even like what the current thing in the WWE is, but they come to Dog and they check it out and they end up liking it. And I think that's the ultimate goal right now, is to not go after the WWE fans or the quote unquote wrestling fans or the smarks or anything else. The idea should be to make your own audience. To give an example right now, hockey is definitely the fourth biggest sport. One time it was the third and it was growing, and now it's a distant fourth. So one of the things they're doing is there's a big stadium game at the MetLife Stadium between the New Jersey Devils and the Philadelphia Flyers. and they're bringing in the Jonas Brothers as part of the attraction to this big stadium. Now, I think the stadium will probably sell out without the Jonas Brothers, but that ain't about the stadium. The stadium series games are pretty unique and pretty awesome, and something you want to experience, even if the prices of tickets are outrageous. What the Jonas Brothers will do, there's probably zero hockey fans in this world that are Jonas Brothers fans, but the idea is not to draw those fans, is to draw the people who've never been to a hockey game and get them addicted, getting them liking it. Again, the visual and the excitement of these stadium series games also helps to that too. They tend to be like playoff hockey. So the fact that they're doing this is try to bring people who aren't hockey fans into hockey fans, and I think that's what OVW kind of did with their reality show or their documentary or whatever it was called, the behind the scenes. I think it did bring a lot of people who've never seen OVW and make them fans of it, whether they're wrestling fans or not. The one thing though, about it is, whether it's going to be continuous successful, I know it brought the investors, but I'm not a big fan of bringing non-wrestling people in the wrestling field unless they just let the wrestling people do their thing. It's been proven, in my opinion, with WCW and a lot of other things out there. When you bring non-wrestling people into wrestling, they all think they know better, and it never seems to work out. That's why I think Endeavor has the right formula and let the people that are actually doing their job do their job, and the people that are specifically supposed to do it. So I also understand why Billy doesn't want to do it, because he would have to lose all his power. He doesn't like to share that, and a lot of those corporate people, they want their say into things. Heck, even to get into bed with a network, the network has the rights to say they want something, and if you don't get it, they can just say, all right, we have an excuse, we have a clause, I'm sure, or we can put you at 3 o'clock in the morning or do whatever to make it so it's, we don't care. Move you to our 7th level station. So I really worry about OVW with that, because it's also way too many cooks into the kitchen. There was already too many watching the documentary. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think the NWA needs to do that. I don't think OVW is going to be much more than a wrestling school, and Al Snow just doing whatever he can to keep the lights on so he can keep doing what he's enjoying. But eventually you sell your soul to the devil and you have no soul left to sell.
I mean, that's it 100%, isn't it? In my opinion, it just depends on which way this ball bounces, right? Because if they go out and they take that they take that money, they start touring, and they get a good reaction, that could be a game changer. If they get a positive reaction and they get people going to these live events outside of Kentucky, I mean, that could be a very big deal for them. And keep in mind, their roster is very similar to like what the NWA has. I mean, heck, their national champion, their North American, whatever they call it, is literally EC3. They use Freya the Slave, who's also a part of the Joe Kazana promotions that represent the NWA Southeast. So it's like, how far away is OVW from being a legit company? Like how far away
are they from company, but how are they being a nationally recognized company?
Thank you. That's the phrase I was looking for. Like, if we start talking about wrestling promotions in the United States, I think the conversation obviously starts with the WWE. Shortly after that, probably AEW. Then below that, Impact, maybe Game Changer Wrestling. Somewhere in there, you have the NWA. You have a company like Ohio Valley. You have the United Wrestling Network. And then there's other promotions all around.
MLW.
Huh?
MLW.
And, of course. See, I didn't even mean to forget them, but MLW. And there's promotions like that that are good content, good products. But is Ohio Valley, I wouldn't consider them on the same level as MLW, right? Would you?
Right now, maybe.
Okay.
I was going to say, as in MLW's ahead of Ohio Valley, yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't know what the investors are being pitched. and I don't know what kind of return they're being promised. Because, I mean, make no mistake about it, they're being promised some kind of return. They're not just throwing money into this for the sake of throwing money. But, like,
you'd have to be an asshole to do that.
Right. And so this is one of those cases like where Jaden said, well, I mean, look, we saw a real world example of it with the Texas Rangers a few years back. I mean, Nolan Ryan and I don't remember the other guy's name, bought the team, but they were actually small owners in it. There were two larger, or several larger owners, two big ones in particular. Well, Nolan Ryan used one of them to get rid of his partner a year end, and within a couple of years, he was out. So it's like the company wasn't really sold again, but we had very different managing partners when it all was said and done, within a few years. And so I don't know what the people are investing in. Are they investing in just keeping a small promotion running and, getting some money here or there? Are they investing long term? Are they investing short term? Are they investing expecting to run with the big dogs? I don't know. But I just, I don't know that wrestling has in it at this time anything that's going to make anybody overly big anymore. I mean, look, we can talk about AEW. Their Wednesday ratings are almost consistently between 820,000 and 850,000 viewers, almost consistently, which isn't a horrible number. It's not a great number, but it's not horrible. But my gosh, go look at their other two shows. They can draw on good nights. On good nights, they draw 350. On bad nights, they can draw under 300. And it's just like, where are the people who watch on Wednesday and why aren't they watching these other two shows? Now, you can give me all sorts of crap about, well, I don't put on the top people or, they weren't, originally going to do this, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. The fact is, what we're saying here is that the 500,000 difference in the show is the people who are willing to watch an episode of AEW because they like the product and they're diehard fans, basically, but aren't obsessed enough with wrestling to watch everything they put out. Hey, I'm in my habit of watching Wednesday nights and I'll watch it. I got a life on Friday. I got a life on Saturday.
That's really hard to believe knowing the AEW fans.
It is hard to believe, but maybe mom only allows them to watch, 2 hours a week. I don't know.
Their mom only lets them stay up late to watch Kenny Omega and AEW.
Yeah, so we normally have to ask. But yeah, I mean, but my point is there's this big variance in between what is a fan that's willing to watch the show, but not everything they produce. And my gosh, sometimes I think the NWA can outdraw them.
Maybe their mom needs the basement for Bridge Club.
That's probably it. It would not surprise me in the least. But I don't know. And look, one of the things that CM Punk has done for WWE or TKO now, let's be honest as to who's doing the things now. So TKO is they have been talking to Warner Brothers Discovery, and that kind of went nowhere. And then they got CM Punk, who according to those sources, somebody at Warner Brothers Discovery loved CM Punk. And now all of a sudden they're back talking about Raw.
Wouldn't that be the biggest kick in the nuts, honestly, if the deciding factor of whether Tony Khan gets to keep AEW on the Warner Brothers Discovery family of channels is if one guy is like, no, man, we need CM Punk on our channel, and it flips the whole script. You get Raw on Warner Brothers, and you've got Tony looking for somewhere else to go.
Hey, Willie Bowens, one person's garbage is another person's treasure.
That's
right. Well, and look, whether you like CM Punk or you don't like CM Punk, all you got to do is he's got the highest rated segments in WWE right now. People tune in to see him, and that's it. So anybody's individual feeling, that's fine. You're allowed to have it, but it doesn't affect what the reality is of what's happening. And, look, there are rumors again, because nobody knows, that supposedly Warner Brothers owns part of AEW. Don't know if it's true or not, but supposedly there's some equity there. And as somebody said, Warner Brothers has shown that they are willing to lose money, to take money off, take a loss if they feel it's going to be for the overall betterment.
Batwoman?
Batgirl, yeah.
Batgirl, excuse me.
But, I mean, that's like the famous one, but there were like 3 others that they did that with. And there's stories that there might be another one that they're about to do that with.
Well, they did one with John Cena. I think it was like I can't remember now, but maybe it was like a Scooby-Doo John Cena movie or something.
Yeah, well, they did there was one Scooby-Doo for sure that it was almost complete and they shelved it. And then, I think they did shelve whatever John Cena was doing. And I think that was Scooby-Doo. But there was another one recently where they were going to, and then they weren't. And now everybody thinks that they probably are. They're just not going to say it anymore, talk about it anymore. And it's just.
It was like Coyote versus Acme.
Yeah. And so just look, whoever thought the day would come when Turner would, cancel their wrestling shows for a company they owned and that they were trying to sell.
That was the craziest part.
So they're trying to sell these wrestling shows and make some money when it's all said and done. And it's crazy. So we'll see. Well, trust me, other people have reported it. Then.
Well, I know Hausman is.
I never read him, so
it kills me when people share his stuff because I'm like, he's been proven wrong so many times that people are still sharing his content like it's the gospel. But I heard he does have an inside voice when it comes to.
I'm surprised Dan Hausman has time to report we're making all those counterfeit shirts.
Yeah.
Well, and then Matthew Underwood said, was it a good idea to put somebody with the Von Erichs who's known to curse people? Like, yeah.
Curses don't stack. Sometimes they counteract, so maybe it is a good thing. I used to date a lot of witches.
Really?
Yeah, somehow I got stuck in that genre.
We're going to have to talk about that on another episode.
I've dated one or two, though.
Well, I mean, literally and figuratively.
Like I've dated the other one. I've dated the other itches. I used to be married to one, but she wasn't a witch.
Hey, but this kind of brings me to a question that we're talking about. So you brought it up earlier.
Yes.
You mentioned EC3 has won the Ohio Valley National Championship.
And he's also the premier wrestling network, that streaming service. He's their world champion as well.
Yeah, and I was going to get there.
Sorry.
I hate that, but we'll get into that later.
Well, at least that's the world title.
Right.
And Ohio Valley is not even their top title, I don't think. I don't think
second year.
Yeah. And so, but even regardless, what's your opinion on the NWA champion winning other titles?
Stupid.
In other promotions? That's
stupid.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if you're trying to present, this is the most prestigious belt in the entire world, which, because it has the history. So this is the most prestigious title. We got Ric Flair and stuff. I don't know that I would want my champion. And, we had this with the belt collector in Cardona. I don't know that I would want my champion going out and winning other promotions titles, especially little promotions. And I certainly wouldn't want them winning secondary titles. We also saw this with Cody, who held the NWA title and also won the IWGP US title and that ugly belt.
I think they shelved that belt. Okay, yeah. That's a great topic of debate. DK, you posed the question. Jaden, you said the first thing was stupid.
It is. Why? If you're the world heavyweight champion, there should be nothing else to dare out. The only belts he should be collecting is if he wants to solidify the world title by beating other world champions. If he beats the MLW champion in a unification match, then beats the Impact champion in a unification match, and then when the cons get investigated for something and they have to show AEW and it's being sold as in a bargain deal and Billy goes and tours and Smashing Pumpkins to buy it, then yeah, that title should be unified. But the OVW title or any of those other ones, they shouldn't be. Why would you, if you have like the hottest wife in the entire world, why are you going to want a little side piece, 450-pound wildebeest looking person on the side?
Well, I get. I
don't think that's a little side piece.
No, that's called never mind. No, I get what you're saying with that. I guess where this becomes handy, you go to the Ohio Valley Wrestling website right now, and you go to their roster page, and it says current champions, and as it reads from left to right, it shows Ohio Valley National Heavyweight Champion EC3 with him holding the 10 pounds of gold. The next photo is the OVW Women's Champion La Princesa Tiffany Nieves, and then the OVW Heavyweight Champion Tommy Gunn. The only person pictured with a title belt is EC3. He's the first person that they show you from left to right. And I'm not saying that that's the only exposure that he's getting, but I feel like that helps kind of solidify, like, hey, he is a big deal. Look at Ohio Valley, a promotion that is maybe a little bit smaller but similar in stature, is promoting him as one of their top guys. If you scroll down and look at their other champions, you have the Ohio Valley Tag Team Champions, Beaches and Cream, the Ohio Valley Kentucky Heavyweight Champion, and the OVW Rush Champion. So each one of these guys is like, when you go to the page, the first person you're seeing is EC3. I feel like that has at least some benefit to it. No?
As the NWA World Champion, he could just still be the first person, and these are all challengers. That's what OVW should be used as these guys are contenders to fight for the NWA World title. They're all fighting to become the NWA the OVW National Champion, so they can get a shot at the NWA Championship. They want to get a bunch of wins under their belt so they can be deemed honorable enough to have a contender enough to fight EC3 for the World Heavyweight Championship.
And let's be honest here. EC3 is bigger than the NWA.
Yes.
Yeah. And in even more of a way than Nick Aldis was.
Yes.
And he's bigger than Ohio Valley.
Yes.
Ohio Valley doesn't really care that he's the NWA champion. If he's the champion, he brings his belt, sure, they're willing to take whatever publicity comes with it. But if he lost the world title tomorrow, he's in the same place in Ohio Valley on their website. They could care less. And so, because for them, it's EC3 that's the attraction, not the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And so, just that being said, if you're going to hold a belt and say this is the most prestigious belt that there is in wrestling today, I don't want sports entertainment, but in wrestling, this is the most prestigious. This has the lineage. This has the history. This has, everything. Then I think then you don't want any other title. And except for, like Jaden said, if you're going to unify with MLW, or if ROH were still an independent company or something like that. I mean, it's just, yeah, that's my thought. Did the people out there have any thoughts, or are they're talking about Nikita Lyons?
Yeah, Nikita Lyons, which is very nice. No, I think the problem, maybe not the problem, but I think the way I look at it, somebody explained it to me like this once a very long time ago, that the title means you're getting paid. And for every title you have, that means you're getting paid more. So I kind of see it from that standpoint of like a payday is a payday, and it's an extra payday. And paydays are totally nuts. But I think at the end of the day, having the ability to have your champion carrying another title, I don't think it diminishes the value of the 10 pounds of gold, but I can see where that can be problematic in the future. At some point, EC3 won't hold both titles at the same time. And when that happens, then what do you do? If EC3 loses the Ohio Valley National Championship first, does that degrade the 10 pounds of gold? Maybe.
If it was a non-title match, I could still see it being useful because it could build to a title match as long as he wins the rubber match or whatever, wins the world championship match. Then it could be something, because champions for years lost non-title matches to build a contender. So that's not as much as I'm saying, but it's also the thing I have right now is the Ultimo Dragon pick doesn't mean anything anymore. It meant something when the great Sasuke did it. It did something when Ultimo Dragon did it, when Jushin Liger did it. It does not mean anything anymore. There's so many crappy wrestling belts and titles and promotions out there. And I love when somebody comes out. There's one guy who posted he's got 19 belts, and only one of them is some sort of replica. So
I'll say this. Of course, the Super 8 was special because of the legacy that it carried. And even though at the time that NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship didn't carry the same weight that a lot of the other titles carried, they did what they could to build it up before they made that title into that legacy championship, where they had literally 8 different titles. And the thing about that too is, the wild thing about that is they brought the WWF Junior Heavyweight or Light Heavyweight Championship and the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship and had that on an episode of Nitro in a time where there was a Monday Night Wars, and they literally had brought 2 titles from other companies, and that were not necessarily affiliated with them, and showcase that on their TV, on their programming. And I know that it didn't end well. I know that at some point the WWE asked for their title back and all that stuff. But at that moment, that was never lost on me, the fact that there was the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title, the WWE Light Heavyweight title, and it was there with the WCW Cruiserweight title, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. You're right.
Almost none of which got mentioned, by the way.
No, it was just the J Crown.
I mean, at least the NWA, or two of the NWA titles that were part of it, looked look like NWA titles. The middleweight title didn't, because they had already changed it by that time. And at one point, someone else held one of the other NWA titles. So they held like 3 of those belts. But yeah, I mean, nobody knew WWE had a light heavyweight title. And and let's be honest, when WWE asked for their title back, well, the champion actually lost one of the belts, and J Crown became a 7. And then WWE asked for the title back, so they just vacated all of them. And except for the IWGP, it was something to make the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion look more impressive.
The IWGP champion didn't even win the tournament. That was a cool thing too. It was a great booking by Liger, in my opinion.
Right.
But it was very well done, and like I said, but every one of those titles, at least in some way, shape, or form, had some history and meant something. Masayoshi Motegi wasn't the biggest star in Japan, but he had a little bit of a name in Japan. And so when he won the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, he actually defeated, I believe it was Elio Del Santo in the tournament final for that. There was something important happening on that situation. It meant something. Same thing for the WWF light heavyweight titles, been lineage-wise in about a dozen or so different promotions, but it's been around since that that was a championship that the Tiger Mask held. That was something that had lineage. Every one of those titles meant something. Nowadays, there's so many people that you can, so many people that, and so many promotions out there with belts that you could have 70 of them, and none of them meant anything compared to the one that won any one of those J Crown belts. Any one of them. The Michinoku Pro British Commonwealth champion or whatever that was. Yeah. That they all meant something in the wrestling business, and that's why Dragon holding it and Sasuke holding it and Liger holding it and everything, that really meant something. And that's why right now, somebody said they're props. There should never be props. A championship should be the most important member of your roster. They should never be props. And yes, it's true that the championship doesn't necessarily make the wrestler, but in the old days it used to. Because if you were the NWA champion, you meant something. Even Tommy Rich's short reign meant something. It made Tommy Rich. It helped make a territory successful, because the title switch happened twice in that territory in a very short time. That's the problem now, is these championships need to mean something, and to mean something, having 60 of them just diminishes it. That's why having so many titles in the NWA diminishes. That's why having so many titles in OVW diminishes. That's why so many titles in AEW diminishes it.
One of the things, just you're talking about titles, and another difference with J Crowns, that's back when you did not see necessarily somebody hold a lot of titles at one given time. I mean, today I know this one female wrestler that wrestles between Texas and LA, and she's got like 5 championships, and has noted to me in a conversation she's only ever defended one of them.
Put a name on it. Who is it?
I don't want to talk about it because it was a private conversation that we were having. But I mean, come on, but it's not just her. There are guys around. I mean, my most popular picture that I ever posted on Facebook is of Rodney Mack holding like 8 belts. And as he put it, he left like 5 of them at home. So, it's just, it's something that happens nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, DK, if you wore all your belts, how many would you have?
Somebody asked me one day how many I have, and I said, I don't know, because I stopped counting at 30. So, a lot. Let's put it this way. If I put every belt that I own on, I'd be dead. I'd be crushed.
I'd be crushed. See, that's just it. That's the point. There's so many belts out there nowadays that, Jay could grab his TV and his British Commonwealth and his 10 pounds of replica right now and walk around with it.
Right. And so, and look,
Oh, yes. I forgot about
my fantasy baseball belt. Yeah.
Still with the plastic.
Yeah, because I got to ship it out to somebody. I didn't win it. I just paid for it. That's all.
Oh, fool. Anyway.
Thanks.
One of the things, I mean, look, I understand wrestlers who are running the independents wanting to win multiple titles. And I get that. I mean, I get, if you're wrestling in Ohio Valley, maybe you want an Ohio Valley title, blah, blah, blah. But it's just one of money marks. Yes, me too. And it's just, you always have to think about, I'm just saying, if I were Billy, I would probably say, it may not be for anyone other than my world heavyweight champion. Maybe my junior heavyweight champion or women's champion can go win titles wherever. And, but the heavyweight champion, 10 pounds of gold, like, I would say, no, don't hold titles elsewhere. And if, that's a problem, and we'll find another champion. I see Mandy asked me, DKM, what's the first belt you ever collected? Well, Mandy, when Figures Inc. first came out, they did a cheap big gold replica. It was flat and thin and supposedly cast or something from like the actual title, which was total BS. And that was the very first one I ever owned. The second one I ever owned, Jay currently has, with a whole bunch of people writing on it.
It got tagged. I'm sorry.
And so, have I shown you guys my most recent?
No, but while you're doing that, if I was Billy Corgan, I'd probably get along with my bass player. Everybody knows the bass player is the heart and soul of the band.
Dime a dozen. You can find a bass. I could throw a quarter outside and hit a bass player.
You're probably kidding because there's not that many bass players.
Your
filter's killing it. There we go.
There you go.
So that's my most recent. It's one of the few WWF belts I own. It's the Andre.
I was going to say, that's the Andre belt, isn't it?
And let me tell you, this thing was magnificently crafted and is almost, literally, almost as heavy as the NWA World Women's belt I hold.
Do you have that one handy? I'd like to see that one again.
Are you kidding? It'll rip the wall down.
Speaking
this is the most recent NWA belt that I got.
I love that tag belt.
I swore I'd never get this one.
If they're going to bring belts back, they should definitely bring that one back. That's so beautiful. I love that one.
I did like that one too.
I hated it.
Then why did you get it?
Yeah.
Send it to me.
No, I mean, I got it for a reason because of its history. But no, when they first brought it out, I absolutely hated it because I preferred the old belts.
You like the Malkovich belts? I never did. They just looked plated. Like they just looked like they were pressed out in a machine.
Well, they were cast, yeah. So, and they looked a lot better when they were freshly, plated, gold plated, or when they did the silver and gold.
Would you like better, the gold, full gold, or the silver and gold?
I like the full gold better, but because they had kind of gotten so shoddy by the end, when they redid them and put them on new leather and put the nickel, the shiny nickel with the gold thing on it, I thought, that was really impressive. I prefer gold to silver belts, but I thought that was pretty damn cool when they did that. I suppose one day I'll get me the silver version.
I like the silver and gold ones just because they contrasted so much that it made it stand out, in my opinion. It was different. The other ones, you couldn't really notice the details as much as when they started splitting, they did a dual tone.
Right.
All right, so what's next, Jay?
Well, I'm glad you asked. We kind of fell off a little bit. So we were talking about Ohio Valley and its investors. One of the things that I know recently, I actually spoke to Dave Marquez, and he was kind of giving me some insider information. We do know that Danny Limelight, the United Wrestling Network World Champion, has now been World Champion for over 365 days. Now, before some of you guys point out the fact that, well, they haven't really had very many episodes of Championship Wrestling lately, he has gone and defended the title outside of the United Wrestling Network. In fact, he most recently defended the title. I believe it was, I have it right here, actually. He defended the title on November the 18th in Hudson, Wisconsin for, oddly enough, Ironheart Pro, which is the promotion that recently has been announced to be partnering with the United Wrestling Network, as they will be joining the UWN along with Championship Wrestling, the Primetime Live series. I'm not sure if that's coming back yet or not. Also with Derby City, and then, of course, Memphis Championship Wrestling. All that just kind of broke within the last week. And I know, according to Dave, there are some talks with a few other wrestling promotions in the Southeast that could be joining up with the United Wrestling Network at some point. But, you know, as these things tend to happen, a lot of these stuff tends to fall through the cracks. So I don't want to say anything in case if it does not happen, and then I look like a houseman all of a sudden. But we do know that they will be back at the Thunder Studios in Long Beach, California. That's where they filmed the original Primetime Live series that was happening during the global pandemic, where they had brought in a lot of the NWA champions at the time. In fact, that some of them only got their only title defenses during the pandemic right there with Dave Marquez. So they'll be back in that studio. They'll be having people there. So it's going to be kind of cool. I was one of the lucky attendees of that first taping. And it's a fully operating studio. Like, there are other shows being filmed. They do a lot of esports arena events. They had a tank on the premises. They were shooting their commercial. So that place is busy. So it'll be interesting to how that dichotomy works with producing a monthly wrestling show. But I know that they are still efforting to get more events coming up. And I know that they have their first TV taping of 2024 on January the 13th, right there at Thunder Studios. Then January the 15th. And then they will also be doing more events for the house show events, not filmed for television. And that's when they'll be returning to Irvine, the Irvine Improv, which is where they were shooting most of their TV last season. And it's still is what it is. They're struggling. They had a falling out with a major sponsor, and that kind of hampered their ability to continue producing weekly TV. But they'll get back to it, and it sounds like what they're going to be doing is like a 4 episode TV taping, where 3 of the episodes will be predominantly for Championship Wrestling, with the 4th episode, 4th hour, will be geared towards doing like a Derby City show. And then the Derby City show will have matches from the Hollywood show as well. So it's going to start coming back soon. The United Wrestling Network will be back at it. And of course, with Memphis and Ironheart Pro Wrestling, it just seems like they're back to it. Do you have any comments you would like to make, DK, about the United Wrestling Network?
No, I'm glad they were able to get some kind of deal worked out to continue. Again, haven't always seen eye to eye with Dave, but I think he's basically a good guy. And, you know, wrestlers need a place to work and a place to get exposure. So he provides that, and that's what's needed.
They were building up to a showdown between Slice Boogie and Danny Limelight, former tag team partners, prior to the show going on sabbatical in Hollywood. And then we know in Derby City, there was a lot of guys coming out of the woodwork to challenge Danny Limelight. Even the Pope was one of those guys that potentially would have challenged Danny Limelight for that title. Jaden, is there anything you want to add to the conversation?
People don't realize that unless you just want to lose money, promoting wrestling is a very difficult thing to do. And to make money with it is even more so. So the fact that they're doing what they can to get back into it says a lot about the determination of David Marquez and his willpower and his ability to survive. Anybody can put on a wrestling show. It takes a really good person to continuously do so and put on product out there and just basically not waste your money. I mean, anybody can use their father's inheritance to throw away just to have a bunch of collectible wrestlers and pretend to play with them. Or you can just download one of those wrestling games and just collect those wrestlers. It'll be a lot cheaper for you. But actually trying to go out there and put wrestling on and something that people want to see and get a crowd and just get a building and get advertising and get wrestlers is a very difficult process.
And like, I make no bones about it, I am biased here. I do consider Dave Marquez a friend, so I'm not. I'll be first one to say that I'm not reporting news here. I'm not an unbiased journalist when it comes to the United Wrestling Network. I will forever have a soft spot in my heart for the people that put that show on. And, and Dave has told me a lot of things that I cannot discuss on any live stream or any podcast. But I feel like, and again, I have a rooting interest here. I'm rooting for my friend. I really feel like they're about to turn the corner. A lot of people do or do not know that, but they were in advanced talks with the CW. And I mean, advanced talks. And there was the deal that the NWA has now seemingly could have been maybe two other companies were all vying for that same opportunity that eventually went to the NWA. So as far as, my guy, Dave Marquez, and what they've been trying to do with Championship Wrestling, I mean, so many talents have come through Southern California, have worked for Dave Marquez, and have gone on to do bigger and better things. And I hope for his sake that the show continues, for one, because, he needs to make a living too, but at the same time, there's been so much talent that has come out of this area that have gone on to do bigger and better things. And, nobody in the local wrestling scene will ever give Dave his just desserts, but I really feel like that dude has done so much to help promote the scene in a positive way and getting people to bigger and better. And I'm just hoping that, 2024 is kind of like a rebirth of what they were doing there for the United Wrestling Network. With that being said, let's talk about Florida, right? Like, what's up with Florida? Because all of a sudden, Florida has become a hotbed for the National Wrestling Alliance. I feel like William Patrick Corgan sat up at a presser somewhere, and much like LeBron James in 2010 said that he was taking his talents to South Beach, because now the NWA has this a couple of nights, a couple of events that are coming up here in the South Beach in Miami. I think I have some of the graphics here.
Welcome to Miami.
Bienvenido a Miami. We know that they're doing the Viva Revolucion, which is a co-promoted event with CCW. We also know that Paranoia, which seemingly is being taped for distribution on the CW. It's a signature live event. I don't know what exactly that means, but that's taking place. Both those events are happening January the 13th. And although I should have already had the graphic up here, I will bring it up now that we also are expected to have TV tapings the very next day. Now my computer wants to freeze on me. TV tapings are happening the very next day at the PBS studios. So, I mean, it's, again, it looks like, a lot of positive things are happening for the NWA. We're talking about 3 events in 2 days. that's always a positive. And when you look at what the NWA has been doing in Florida in the last year, I mean, they started off the 2023 season really with having the Nuff Said Pay-Per-View live in Tampa, and then they followed that up with 2 days of TV tapings that literally lasted for months on NWA Power and NWA USA. Then they would return to Florida, and I know it's not just Miami. I know it's just not South Beach, but they would return to Miami, to Florida for the July 19th event. That was the co-promoted event with Boca Raton Championship Wrestling. Then they would come back and have 2 more dates as part of the World as a Vampire tour, with one stop in Tampa, the other stop in West Palm Beach. And then the NWA most recently was part of the FTW Invasion prior to the return to Robarts, which, I mean, that's like, I believe that's like 7 or 8 days of taping wrestling in the state of Florida. And so that begs the question, Jaden, do you think that Florida has now become the unofficial home for the NWA?
No, I don't think it's become the unofficial home. I think they're just taking advantage of a really fruitful situation.
Okay.
The home of the NWA right now, it doesn't have a home. I guess home is where the heart is. So that's where the bass player is. But yeah, it's a good thing, though. They're taking advantage of a situation. Florida has always been a plethora of wrestling promotions. CCW, I'm trying to think, who owns that? Is that Pablo Marquez?
No. Our pal Tim talked about it yesterday, and he had the owner's name on it, and I can't think of it right now, but if you give me 5 minutes, I'll look it up.
I'm trying to think of that itself because I recognize the promotion, and I know they've used the Colognes have been wrestled there in the past, and I think Super Crazy has wrestled there in the past. I remember seeing his name. And it's mostly a wrestling school, but I think it has, like a lot of wrestling schools, they have delusions of grandeur, so they have lots of big-time wrestlers there. It's Florida's version of OVW, I would guess, without the lineage. But it's a good promotion. They've had some good stars. They've had some good wrestling. They have good talent. I know a couple of their talents I've seen in the past have some good looks. They have, aesthetic-wise, they look like professional wrestlers. It's always a good start.
So you were actually right. Pablo Marquez was a part owner up until about 2020 with Dan Ackerman. Dan Ackerman has been owner of the promotion, part owner of the promotion since its inception, and right now the other part owner is Neilio Costa, and again, the promotion's been around since 2012, or I guess even since 2004. Excuse me, and they've been trying to promote like this championship wrestling from Florida in the same vein as the old territory that Dusty got famous in, and I guess that's their plan, is to try to emulate that style. I know that Kevin Sullivan is involved. I think who else did I hear was involved?
I think Cahagas has worked for them in the past too.
Yeah, former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion Cahagas. No, one N. No, not 2 N's.
There's no ends.
That's the point.
Just like there's no ends of this podcast sometimes.
Well, look, we can end it now if you like, but we're talking about Florida, and
Florida has horrible biscuits and gravy. I'm sorry, you people who live there.
Have you ever been to Orlando, DK?
Me? Yeah.
There's a place in Orlando.
That's where I had the horrible biscuits and gravy.
There's a place in Orlando the next time you go called 7 Bites. It'll change your outlook on biscuits and gravy in Florida.
They have horrible pizza. I tell you that.
Oh, yes. They have horrible pizza, too.
They have horrible barbecue, too, honestly. Except unless you get gator.
To be honest, I didn't really find any food great there.
I went to Florida back in...
I bet you Miami's got good Cuban food.
Plantains?
I would think so. And cactus.
When I was in Florida back in 2018, my wife and I went to a taco place, which was like a fancy taco place. It was just okay, but one night we went to this place where they had buffalo alligator bites. And so I figured, I wanted to eat an alligator because so many alligators have eaten children. So I figured I was getting one back for him, but I'd pass on that if it ever came up again.
I've had alligator. If you cook alligator right, it's actually good, but that's probably not what you had.
No, it was very chewy and not tasty at all. And if this was a food critic show, I'd say it stinks. But
you know what else is chewy? Wookiee steak. Oh,
it's a little chewy. But getting back to the Florida wrestling, I mean, that connection, the NWA has long had a history, obviously, in Florida. And we were talking about with Mecha Wolf last week, where he actually wrestled for some of those Florida underground shows all those years ago, where Cajegas used to wrestle. Of course, of course, I'm drawing a blank now. The Howard Brody produced Ring Warriors was based out of Florida for its first 2 runs. And then, of course, Joseph Kabibo, more famously known as the Sheik, had his territory in Florida as well.
Now I know why you don't like alligator. You prefer chicken.
I do.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, if I'm right.
I love fried chicken, and good fried chicken is a masterpiece. But
I heard you were slinging fried chicken in the past.
No, those allegations are false. I've never slung any fried chicken. I wouldn't even know how to make fried chicken. My wife makes good fried chicken.
Oh, I make some great fried chicken.
Why didn't you give me fried chicken when I was out there in Glassboro?
Because I didn't feel like cooking it. And there are some good places around. Honestly, I should have taken you to get you the one southern bakery place too. They were great.
Well, next time. So then I guess I'll pose a question to DKM. What are your thoughts on the NWA's continued involvement in Florida? Do you feel like this might be the new spiritual home of the NWA, or is this just taking advantage of opportunities, like Jane said?
Taking advantage of opportunities. Luckily, Florida's a big enough state that you can, run different sections without necessarily burning yourself out. I honestly don't know if they're doing that or not, because I don't know where any of these places are located.
I did a map lookup earlier today. Sarasota is like 4 hours away from Fort Lauderdale, so it's not going to be the same audience that was there for Robarts, that's for sure.
Right, and that's what's important. But yeah, I think you take advantage of the situation that it gives you, that you can have. Obviously, they had spent money to redo their studio. Wherever it is it Nashville? Is that where they did?
Yeah, Nashville.
So
Studios.
So I'm assuming at some point they'll end up back there before too long. Well, I do have a question for you though. So
okay.
Originally they were supposed to have a pay-per-view in January, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
right?
Hard Times was initially that when we left Samhain, that was the idea, is that the next pay-per-view was supposed to take place at Hard Times 4.
And that was
4.
And that was announced, wasn't it?
It was announced at the pay-per-view, but then there was no other formal announcement and no press release, no links or anything else like that.
Okay, but it was more than just a rumor. I mean,
yes,
official. Okay, and that's disappearing now.
Yes,
and so there hasn't been talk of a pay-per-view. I mean, I haven't heard of anything being on the calendar or the schedule.
There has been zero talks of pay-per-views for 2024 as of yet. Now, remember, last year when they came into 2023, they really didn't start ramping it back up again until February. So there's a possibility that we might not have another pay-per-view until February. But I just don't. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is. That they don't run this stuff by me anymore, DK.
I know. I wish they would. But
these old days when DK used to work for the Texas office.
Yeah. Man, I made a lot of money back then. Anyway, but that being neither there nor here at the moment, it just sometimes their quietness bugs me. And I don't know. I mean, just like when they never really said anything about USA, they just stopped showing it. And it's like, well, okay, this is what we heard, or this is what's going around. Or, it's like, why can't they just say, hey, or, we're going to go in a different direction?
Can I point something out about Hard Times real quick?
You can.
So each time there has been a Hard Times pay-per-view, and this is the only consistent pay-per-view that the NWA has produced in its 3 years, or I guess 5 years of existence. Hard Times, the first pay-per-view was January 24th, 2020, and the main event for that show is Ricky Starks versus Trevor Murdoch for the NWA World Television Championship. Hard Times 2, which took place on December 4th, 2021, so almost almost a whole year between the two, or almost 2 years, I guess I should say. The main event was Trevor Murdoch versus Mike Knox for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And then Hard Times 3, which took place from Chalmette, Louisiana, took place on November 12th, 2022. And the main event there was Trevor Murdoch defending his title against Matt Cardona and Tyrus in a 3-way match. So the thing that I'm pointing out is Hard Times has been in a different month every time it's happened. And the main event has been a Trevor Murdoch match each time. Just
that's simple. Then the next one will be October,
or maybe February.
No, because they're going back to month every month. So starting January, December, November. So now it'll be October. It'll be going same time as Samhain.
And then to what DK was saying, I real quick because Rosville brought it up. He said, and Power Surge and Aftershock, poof, gone. Same thing with Circle Squared. Same thing with, I guess they announced Carneyland, so you have that. But
Circle Squared died with the pandemic, and that's fine.
What about High Voltage?
There was a lot of change in that one. Wasn't that just what they were calling their replays of Dave Marquez's primetime thing? I mean, I think that was always meant to be a temporary. I mean, they never did.
Joe Galley said on the last episode, we'll be back with more NWA Aftershock or whatever it was called, High Voltage, in the new year, and then never got it.
Never got it.
Didn't say which year it would be.
That's true.
That's a good point.
And then, I will let them off the hook on the pandemic stuff.
Okay.
Not completely, but enough. I mean, we were also told Primetime Live was coming back.
It has. It's come back a few times.
Sort of. But never like it was. And it's just, I don't know. We'll see. It's just, I do wish sometimes they would, when they say things, I wish they would follow up a little bit more.
Or they shouldn't say anything. Maybe it's better than not saying anything, because every time they say something, it doesn't always come through.
This is also true.
So,
real quick, our pal Fuzz has a question. Is a signature live event going to be live on CW?
No.
There has been nothing to indicate what a signature live event is. As far as I know, I might have missed something. Maybe Gary and the boys that do the This Is the NWA podcast might have leaked something during their live shows, but I haven't heard anything about what a signature live event is other than just another TV taping, I guess. I don't know.
I think I'm kind of chalking it up to being something like Robarts, where there's it's going to be a wrestling show and they're going to tape TV there, as opposed to a TV taping.
So apparently, signature live events are television concerts that happen on British television.
Oh,
what more could you ask for?
I kind of was hoping, especially because I slapped that CW logo on the advertisements right away, that would be like a live event that you could watch on CW. Like, oh, hey, because look, there's still another 10 months, 9 months until the NXT deal goes into act on the CW. In the meantime, I feel like the CW could show any other wrestling program until that happens. You would think like, hey, maybe this is a good opportunity to test out if if there is an audience there for the CW when it comes to wrestling. They could have these signature live events on the CW channel, kind of like a Saturday night's main event, and see if it would draw for them. They're putting wrestling on the channel that hasn't had wrestling in probably about 11 years, 15 years.
I don't know.
So it's interesting to see how that's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things sound good, but let's be honest, we have no idea what their deal with CW is, even to this day.
Yeah, we still haven't really had. Billy still hasn't gone on Busted Open Radio to report that he has a TV deal, that hasn't come to fruition. There's been a lot of speculation. Anthony Andrews throwing out that they were doing a Billy Corgan reality show. Other
and he's not the only one who said that, by the way. Just
right. Well, he was the first person that publicly said it.
Yes, publicly.
And of course our pal Nick Housen also echoed that sentiment as well. So who really knows for sure what's going to happen with the reality show? I mean, if it's a reality show on William Patrick Corgan, unless they're doing a new show, like that's any of that stuff that they had filmed is in the past tense. If they were talking about the stuff that they were shooting at the 75th anniversary show.
Well, from what I heard, and again, this is such subjective rumorism that you can't believe it just because you've heard it, even if you hear it from more than one source.
This is true.
Because you don't know who their sources are. If you're not hearing it from Billy. And so, one person could be saying something to 5 different people and they're all reporting back to you the same thing.
Right.
I've heard. But what I heard supposedly originally was that Billy filmed it with the hopes of getting a deal to show it. And so the problem is by now it's going to be so far past its thing. And apparently, I guess this wedding was part of it.
Yeah.
And so people were, we want to what? But I've heard there's nothing firm on it being set. That we don't really know if it's going to be on CW TV, which some people claim. But then some people claim he had a TV deal for 2 shows.
Yeah.
And so far, all we have are old episodes of POWERRR. POWERRR. On the CW app. And I mean, I don't know. Other people swore up and down that, when they do the thing, then the wrestling will actually, when they do the reality thing, then the wrestling will actually be on CW2 because of, they only program like 2 hours a night, CW and things like that. And so they go, it'll be a package. Haven't heard that. I mean, officially anywhere.
Yeah.
Some unofficial people are saying things, and I don't know if it's a little troll that's in their
organization,
or if it's sometimes the owners leak stuff like this, and because they want people talking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like celebrities will often call the press to say, hey, or they get their spokespeople to call the press and say, hey, maybe you should show up at this gas station at this time. Something might happen. And,
if you want, you could still watch the last episode of Ring Warriors on Amazon Prime.
Actually, I think that's no longer the case.
Still showed up the other day when I was looking up on my thing as one of my saved files, saved shows.
Did you try to watch it though?
Okay. Well, I didn't want to watch it when I had it.
No, the only reason why I say this is because I actually did go look for it to watch it, and it was like, nope, access denied. It's weird how these things work too, because for a very long time, even after Lucha Underground, excuse me, not Lucha Underground, but Lucha Libre USA, for those of you that have been around for a while, that show, which aired on MTV Trace, which was a bilingual MTV channel that featured lucha libre wrestlers. Blue Demon was involved. Gosh, what was his name? Oh gosh, they had the whole the Arizona oh god, what was his name? It's killing me. The guy wrestled in Ring of Honor as well. John Walters is his real name, but I can't think of his in-ring name. Anyways, it had like Rocky Romero. It had Marco Corleone. It had a lot of like talent that had left WWE. Like Shane Helms was there for a bit. Chavo Guerrero was there for a bit. That was still available on Hulu for a very long time after that show went off the air. I think they just never like nipped that in the bud. But I used to get
Brewer.
What's that?
RJ Brewer.
RJ Brewer, thank you. He was running this angle where his aunt was the governor of Arizona, and they were kind of like less than kind to people who were from south of the border.
Didn't they have a border patrol gimmick too?
That was basically it. Like, so there's a promotion in Northern California that has the border patrol gimmick that they've used that for a very long time, and it was essentially the same. Even one of the wrestlers that was in that gimmick in the Lucha company up in Northern California was part of this show in the same gimmick, but working with RJ Brewer. It was pretty funny, but a fun wrestling show, but has been very dated. And it was of course at the time I think that went off the air in like 2006 or 2008, something like that, and it was still on the Hulu app for a very long time after that.
All right, so what's next? Anything left?
Question again, because that's what I do. I ask questions.
Yeah,
and then let you guys tell me.
I was always wondering if it was under the Masks question mark.
Yeah, it was me. So, question.
Yeah.
Our beloved former champion, Matt Cardona, has challenged our current champion to a death match. I guess title defense. Match,
Oh, it's a title defense.
Yeah, and so he won the title in a bull rope match that had no blood. So why have a bull rope match?
It was the only way to hide how horrible Tyrus was in the ring.
He had a title defense against Mr. Camille. Tom Lattimore, there we go. Sooner or later. That was basically a no disqualification match. I don't remember what they called it, but it was a no disqualification match is what it was. And now they're having a title match with Cardona, who he's already wrestled once or twice. It'll be twice by the time this match takes place, but none that we've seen. And it's going to be a death match because Cardona's the king of death matches,
right?
Do we need more just plain title defenses? I mean, I guess he had one against Jax, and he had one of the TV tapings. But should that be more the norm? I mean, it seems like right now, NWA wise, I'm not talking about his title defenses outside the NWA at the moment, but NWA wise, he's having more specialty matches for the title than he is just wrestling match. That's the name on the marquee.
That's because people who don't understand wrestling think that people want to see gimmicks, and they don't understand that the gimmicks by themselves don't draw. It's actually building up to make that gimmick mean something. The War Games would have never meant anything if it was just 4 or 5 random people against 4 or 5 random people in a cage, and that was that match. It was just randomly just chosen. That's why later War Games were diluted. I
liked it better when it was 2 War Games, the match beyond. Those were 2 separate things.
But it's because the people don't understand. They think the gimmicks and are just like championships. They need to have a whole bunch of them and gimmick matches, and don't realize that there has to be a reason behind it, logic, and a build up. And just throwing random stuff out there doesn't mean anything. And I think that's the problem right now with the NWA, because Cardona's got a buzz with the ultra violent or hardcore or death match, whatever they're going to call it. He's got a buzz with that crowd, and they're trying to grab whatever they can. It may be another cocaine spot where it might end up being more detrimental to them than beneficial. Well, not that the cocaine spot was ever going to be beneficial, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, I kind of agree. I would much rather see just a straight up match between Cardona and EC3. I feel very much like we don't need all the over the top gimmicks. I get why they do it, but I just don't. For me, that's not my cup of tea. That's not my jam. That's not what I want. But apparently that's what they're going to give us. And that's the only match that's been announced for Paranoia. Something else that I don't think anybody's been talking about, Paranoia is going to be a strictly general admission, no seating venue. It's standing room only. So like for that entire event, there's no place to sit. So the old heads who go to these shows, make sure you're wearing the good sneakers, because it's going to be a long night.
Does that force them to keep it short?
I mean, I think so, because like if you think about it, like this is the show starts at 6:00, and then they're having the crossover with Coastal Championship Wrestling at 10 p.m. Much later show. You kind of have to keep it short, otherwise you're not going to have enough time to be finished. But that's. If the show starts at 6, and let's be honest, indie wrestling never starts at 6. It starts at 6:30 or 7:00, and you got to get all that in before 10, and you got to clear out and clean up. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, just Queen Victoria had introduced a thing that when she met with her prime ministers, and it actually went on to even being the Privy Council, was that at the meetings they had to stand, because it made it go quicker. And although it changed with the prime ministers over time, the Privy Council to this day, when there's a Privy Council meeting, only the monarch can sit, and even he stands most of the time, or she. And again, the idea is so that it'll be quick, because people get tired of standing. And so if you're having a standing only show, and I've been to some standing only shows, and let me tell you, about an hour in, my feet get tired.
Oh yeah.
And it's just almost like, I don't think you can put on a long show that way. And so just curious.
Well, I'll say this. Your boy Jay is going back down to LA for probably what will be my last wrestling match of the year. And I'm going to see tomorrow night, taking my oldest Lily Cow to check out some more Women of Wrestling, because my pal Ray's, aka Reina Del Rey, will be there. And so we're going to support her. And the last time we went to that show, man, it was like a 4-hour TV taping, and or maybe 3-hour, but it felt like it was forever. And they do have seats, but it's like for maybe about 30 people. So anyone else is basically standing the entire time. And I'll tell you, man, at the end of that show, I was a little worn out. That was a lot to ask, to be part of the broadcast, to cheer like you're programmed to cheer and boo and standing for that time. And then they wouldn't even let me take pictures, DK. What's up with that?
Well, they just thought you're some perv. But, well, I mean, I remember going to a show in a town just over from me, and it went 3 hours, almost on the dot. And I just remember, oh, man, sitting on a metal folding chair for 3 hours. And it was just like, by the end, everybody's getting up and stretching their legs, and it's like the match better be entertaining so we can stand and cheer, or stand and boo, or stand and do something, because our butts, kind of like the hat you got me. Our butts are.
Did you get it already?
Yes, it got here today. And
why don't you show the viewers what you got?
Oh, it's in another room. But
all right,
next week. Someone remind me next week. And anyway, yeah, just those things. Shows wear you out, and it's like a good show, just over 2 hours, and certainly not much more than 2.5. That has it for, at least the groups around here, if you want to keep your audience in any way entertained.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. I think we're going to end here on such a wonderful, positive note that late breaking news, it's standing room only at this venue. And our pal Dave Scooby asked, is it standing room only? I did go to the Ticketmaster website, and when I clicked on the general admission, no, I'm sorry, that's not where I was at. What I saw, more info, here it is. The show is standing room only, and there's no assigned seating for the event. There will be no autograph signings with WPC at this event or the meet and greet. Individual photo opportunities will not be available. Group photos will be emailed out the week following the event. All attendees must have a ticket regardless of age. Please refrain from any sexual and or explicit cheers or chants. Full match recording is not allowed. No live streaming, Facebook Live, full videos. This event may contain strong language and occasional adult situations, along with mild violence. Parental discretion is advised.
Mild violence for a combat sport.
Yeah, so that's at the Revolution Live. So, and it's seemingly it's like a concert venue most days of the week, but on January 13th at 6:30 and 9:30, respectively, it is going to be a wrestling house of pain. And I don't think I would be able to handle that.
What's stopping you from bringing your own chair?
It's a good point. I don't know if there's nothing in the rules that said you couldn't, but it said it was a standing room only event. So maybe that's where they get you.
Yeah. And I don't know about this venue, but some won't allow you to, just because it takes up more space.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're trying to cram as many people as the fire department will let them. And then maybe one or two more.
Wait a minute. So it's standing room only, and that's a $35 ticket. Or if you want the meet and greet where you don't even get an autograph signing, it's $50. That doesn't seem like it's a very good value. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up from here. I know that Dr. Lawrence Zirconium has been hard at work trying to get some more dates lined up for 2024 for Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. Jaden, do you have any updates on what we can expect in the new year for Dog?
Well, as you know, there are both events at Rowan College of Burlington County, and there's events at the Rowan University in Glassboro. There's also the Dog Championship Defense at the MAWA event on February 10th. And there's something big coming with another sports franchise in New Jersey. More details are going to be coming after the new year. But there is a different sport might be working with dogs soon. Nice. And there also might potentially be a state fair in the southern part of the state that might have something going. And there's potentially something going with maybe a military base on the in the state. Wow, so nice. There's some irons in the fire that hopefully all work out. Hopefully I didn't jinx them.
And if anyone wants to follow Dog, you could follow them. The best thing to do is go to their YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dog Pro Wrestling. And
it's DAWG.
Yeah, DAWG. And make sure you subscribe too, because it's they're also getting close to hitting their goal of hitting that 1,000 subscribers. And the thing about it is the Dog Pro Wrestling page is chock full of good content, good wrestling,
and Dave Dahl matches.
And Dave Dahl matches. And the thing about it is it's completely free. They're at 928 subscribers. They have tons of videos. There's over 277 videos, and most of those are matches, but they have promos and stuff too. And then you can go to the website, dogprowrestling.com, where they have links to the other social media accounts that you can follow there. I highly recommend it. I enjoy the Dog. I've been to their event in Glassboro. I had a great time. If you like good wrestling, you'll like Dog Pro Wrestling.
Bad wrestling like Dave Dahl matches.
Or Dave Dahl matches. So as far as that goes, that's our plug on Dog DKM. If folks would like to follow you on the socials, how can they do that?
At DKM FWTX. Although, man, I haven't posted much about wrestling in a while on any of them.
You're on the Gram. You're on the X. Are you on anything else? You're on the Reels? Not Reels. Threads?
I'm on Threads. I'm not sure anybody else is, but
And of course, you can follow this channel at the Alliance blog. We're everywhere on social at the Alliance blog. And again, like I said, we did celebrate 2,000 subscribers this week. It's a huge achievement. I'm humbled by all of your guys' support. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys spend your Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays with a bunch of chuckleheads talking about the NWA. But it's fun, and this is our community. You guys are a very big part of it. Make sure you hit the Discord link and join if you haven't done so already, because we have a lot of fun conversation even after the show's over. But Paladin, you weren't on the show all night. You want me to say your name? You weren't even here, bro. Or maybe you
Paladin.
were. He's my Paladin, actually. That's how I like to say it. But that's going to do it for us, guys. I will give you my updates on what's happening with the momentum after I go to WOW this Friday night. And, of course, stay tuned to all of our socials. You never know what you might find, what might pop up next. But
real quick, will there be any more bumpers to talk about the website and the Alliance Guys podcast?
I always try, but it's very hard to get people to do that, especially at WOW. But I don't know if you guys didn't notice, Lois Grain, who does the opening for us, she's actually she's got a new name in WOW, but she's one of the wrestlers in WOW. I think she's called the Teacher's Pet. But all right, that's gonna do it. I'm tired of talking. These guys want to go. So
okay, DK, when you get the thing, red or blue, you'll say in your Instagram, red or blue.
Until next time, we'll see you
right.
at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are